In this video, we're going to set up personal dot files, and I'm going to show you how that I set mine up. Now, this is a really controversial topic. Everybody has their own way of doing it. I'm going to get lots of suggestions from lots of different people, and that's fine. It's fun. It's really great to do that. But I want to give you an overview of my method, and we can go into that. This is a continuation of a video I made yesterday uh, that is more catered toward beginners getting a virtual machine running. Okay, so this video assumes a few things. So first of all, it assumes you've already got Linux installed on a machine and you can already get terminal access to that thing. It assumes that you've already installed a terminal application onto your Windows machine. It's also assuming you're using a Windows machine. Um, and those, whether you're using a Mac or Linux or a machine or something else, that you can fill in the gaps there. But I am using Windows, and I went into really excruciating detail about why I picked Windows and WSL. I do not want to revisit that this time. So if you're in the chat or you're leaving comments, don't leave comments about that, okay? Because we've already covered that. So Windows. We've got Windows Terminal Preview installed. We have Git Bash installed because we like Bash on Windows more than PowerShell. At least I do. And we have a GitHub account set up, and we're going to talk about GitHub for a really brief moment. For those who don't know, but this is assuming this assumes that you've already pretty much been through most, if not all, of the Beginner Boost, the Skill Stack Beginner Boost, which I'll put a little plug-in for right now. So the Skill Stack Beginner Boost, if you go to skillstack.io, is a thing I do every year. At least I have done every year for the last 3 or 4 years. And we are on 2023, and we're going to be doing, I believe it's week 20 already today. And those videos are on YouTube, and you can go look at that and everything. But the reason it's important that you do that first is because that is going to show you what you have to do to write the code to organize your dot files. That's right. You need to know how to code to do it the way I do it. And that's actually a good segue into a couple questions right off the bat. Okay, so first of all, what are dot files? And secondly, how do you organize them? And why would you put them on GitHub? Where can you find good ideas for dot files, and all of that? And why do I need to know how to code just to organize my dot files? Okay, so the first question is, why dot files? Dot files are, or what are they? Dot files are the scripts and configuration files that go with your Linux or Unix system. In this case, we're doing Linux. So there's a bunch of these little ones here, right? And today we are not going to go into depth about what each one is. We will summarize every single file that's in my dot files. I will tell you what they are and why they're there, and we'll go through that, but just at a very, very high level, right? And I'll tell you how we're going to install those. So dot files are the configuration scripts, uh, and I've also included within my dot files scripts of my own that I run, and programs of any kind that I want to use in my normal terminal session. So if I want to recreate my workspace, whether it be in a VM or on a real machine, I just go on there and I put this in it. And it's worth saying that dot files have a long and strong tradition in Unix. The sharing of dot files, and particularly Bash RC and Vim RC. This has been something that's been around forever. In fact, if you could do a search on GitHub, and this is one of the reasons that we are on GitHub, but if you go just to do a random search on GitHub, let's do this right now, github.io.com. If you go to a random search on GitHub and you search for dot files, you can see, you'll see like lots. Is this only in me? Oh wait, whoops, I searched the wrong place. Dot files. Or you just search for dot, mine are called dot. But you can see there's just everybody's got dot files. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Jess has got some good dot files. She's been around forever. And she's actually using X still. So when you find somebody who you kind of want to emulate, or you think they're doing things that you want to do, you can go look at that. Some people have Mac OS dot files. Some people mix them because you can Mac is Unix, So you can actually write dot files that will work with Mac and they will work with other things. You have people that have configured Z Shell and stuff like that. And we're not going to go into the discussion of which shell to use. But let's jump right in. Um, so let's get access to our our VM. So here's the VM that we set up and installed. And if anybody recommends I use Control L today, I'm going to slap you. Don't use Control L. I use Vim mode, which means you can't do that. And if you don't know what that means, go watch the Beginner Boost beginning videos. I think it's actually completely ludicrous to do anything but VI mode. You spent so much time learning VI. Why would you not use VI mode for the history? And why would you use Emacs mode for the history and not that? If you don't know what I'm talking about, go search out those terms and understand why. It's very important. That's why Control L won't work to clear the screen. So, but this is one good example of why a dot file is needed, right? Because the people that made Bash, which is the default shell on Linux, um, also were Emacs users. They also made Emacs, and so they're like, hey, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to force everybody to use Emacs mode for their history. The very first thing I do on any system I log into, like any system, is set-ovi every single time. Because now I can use, you can't see my keystrokes, but now I'm using, escape or control left bracket, and I'm going up and down like that, and I can search through my history with slash, and I can, I can use all of my VI keystrokes to navigate my history file. And there's an entire video just on that. So, and so to clear the screen, I want to just do C or clear, right? You have to type clear that. There are other ways to clear the screen, but I always use that because it's just my clear command just prints a single key, a single thing to the terminal, so it's much faster than running the clear command, and it doesn't require I use Control L. Okay, so here I have Anton that I logged into. Now this, as we know, we're not logging into it. So let's log into it. I don't want it. This is the console. So that's all I'm trying to say. This is the console, but I want to use a remote terminal. And so, just to recap, I installed Ubuntu Server onto a VMware workstation using VMware Player, which is way better. And I talked about all the reasons why. And now we're going to connect to it as if it's my own cloud server, right? So for that, I need my Windows terminal application. So I'm pressing I got to get out of this so my keyboard works. So I press the super key, the Windows key, and I type term, and then I type terminal preview pops up, and I push enter. And now it's in full screen mode in the wrong window, so I have to move it. Let me go ahead and clear here. It's also off screen here. I'm going to get it over here. And the font's really outrageously large because of streaming. So I'm going to go back into full screen mode on this. Okay, so and as you can see, once you get this kind of working, it's like you almost can't tell that it's not a Linux machine, right? Because it's just right there. All right, so now what do we need to do? Now we need to. So I know it doesn't look like it, but this is we covered this in a different video. This is Windows. Okay, I know it doesn't look like it, but it is. This is Windows running Bash using Groovebox, Gruvbox, which I'll also recap for you really quickly. Where's my Chrome? There we go. So using Groovebox, and Groovebox is inside, if you go into install, I write a bunch of my own installers, and I have a install Windows stuff, and I have my terminal settings for Groovebox here in a JSON file, and I replaced that yesterday, or in the last video. And I just put Windows only stuff in there. So if there is a Bash script that only worked on Windows, I know that's true. It sounds weird, but it's totally doable. You can do that. So let's go back to, let's see, here we go. So this is Windows. I want to get onto my Linux machine, right? And so I'm going to SSH into my Windows machine now. I don't remember the IP, and it may have changed. So I'm going to go over here. I restarted my machine over here. It's always hard. The mouse is always kind of weird. All right, so IPA, and I am .32 still. Okay, so it remembered I was .32. And I can go back to my terminal. I'll go back here to my terminal, if I can get over there. Okay. 192.168. .1.32. Now, this is actually a good time to probably add something, so because we don't want to type it all the time, right? So let's actually create a file. I know that flashing is Windows terminal settings. I should probably go change that right away. Um, oh my God, I am so sorry. Let's fix that right now. All right, so that is caused by a default setting that did not get saved in my settings file. So let's go to the settings. Startup default profile, default terminal application, launch and startup, Windows starts, no. Do. Interaction, automatically copy to clipboard, yes. Actually, I want that. I do like that. Text formats to copy to the clipboard. Plain text only, removing trailing white space and rectangular selection on. Word delimiters, got that. Snap windows sizing grid, no. On tab switcher, automatically focus pane, no, we don't want that. Automatically detect URLs and make them clickable, yeah. One closing more than one tab, okay. Let's see what else we got. Language, application theme, dark. This is stuff that's not in my settings that I can't preserve, as far as I know. Look at rated tabs. Hide the title bar on. Always show tabs. No. Acrylic material. Use active terminal titles. Application title on. Always on top. Tab width. Paint animations. Always display the icon on Nova. Hide terminal. And the notification area is minimized. Automatically hide window. Where is it? It's not in the color scheme. So, these are the built-in color schemes. This is the one I added. I added Groupbox as the color theme. The other ones are not bad, but I don't like them. So rendering, let's see here. Use the new text Atlas English, redraw entire screen when display updates. Software rendering. No. Actions. I don't. This is very frustrating. Start directory icon. Oh, you know what it is? That's because it has to be configured in Bash itself. Yeah. It has to be configured in Bash itself. Appearance, advanced. All right. So let's. That's right. What am I thinking? The bell is controlled by your configuration, not by your terminal settings. So that was good. That was a good exercise to go through and learn that. I know it took a long time, but whatever. So let's go back to full screen mode. So we actually want to configure Bash here too. And the really cool thing is if you do your dot files right, you can do it in both places. So I have a couple of tasks ahead of me. I've got to get, first of all, I have to create some SSH keys for both my Windows machine if I want to, and my other machine, my Linux machine, which is a virtual machine. I need to make SSH keys for both of those so that I can log into the, to GitHub and get those files and copy them down. And that is covered in another video about how to do Git and how to do SSH. But I'm going to go ahead and do it here anyway. So let's go ahead and just do SSH keygen. This SSH keygen and all these tools were included with Git Bash when we did the installation. And so even though it's a Windows thing, right? So SSH keygen -t ed 25519. I want to set up some keys here. Generate a public key pair. Yes. No passphrase. And now I should have a .ssh directory with all the stuff in it. If I showed you the content of IDE, the not pub one, then you could actually hack me. And I do not want to show you that, so I will putting you into privacy mode or something. We'll figure out how to do that. I just reinstalled OBS too, so I don't have all my same scenes that I used to have. But so now I have a file. So let's actually do some localized configuration of this. SSH is one of the things that I don't obviously save publicly on GitHub, so I have to reconfigure it every time I set up a server. And one of the first things that I want to do is I don't want to have to type in SSH, 192, whatever, right? So I'm going to create a configuration file really quick for that. And I might not get it right the first time. That flashing is because of the terminal bell, which normally you can disable in the terminal application, but I couldn't find a way to do it right now. In fact, let's Let's see if I missed something really easy. Let's just do a basic internet search. How can I disable terminal bell in uh, Windows terminal preview? And need the terminal bell. It's probably, they're going to tell you free. Good old medium. Settings. Bell style. Bell style. Edit the property style to have none. Bell style. Where is bell style? Settings. It's bell style property. Huh. Where is bell? Oh, it's in here. Are you kidding me? That is not something I know about. Let's go do that. Let's do that. Then I mean that'll be one thing that'll keep us happy. I know I'm kind of all over. Oh damn! But I that has got to stop. That has got to stop. All right, settings. Wait, where can I search settings? How do you do that? I don't use this very much. Appearance bell style. I guess we have to go all the way into down here. Open JSON file, which is going to open it in Notepad. Watch your eyes. This is really annoying. Yes, I do not like that it's going to open it in Notepad. I wanted it to open it in GBIM or something, but I'm okay with this for now. Or maybe this is an opportunity for us to just install VS Code, because it's not bad to have VS Code installed. Let's do that really quick. Yeah, VS Code. What is it? Visual Studio Code. I don't use Visual Studio Code very much, but it's nice because it, as a default editor, I know it's kind of overkill for an editor, but it's really good for that. And when you install it, it takes over itself. It takes over everything as the editor, and you can actually do Groovebox or whatever you want to do. I accept the agreement. Yes. Next. Install. Next. Next. Create desktop icon. Add open with code action to Windows Explorer. Add open with code. Yeah, install. Preparing to install. So, because I don't, again, I don't want to blind everybody, so I'm going to go ahead and add these things. I mean, you really should have VS Code. If you have a Windows machine and you're a developer, you should have it, even if you don't use it all the time. You really should. Most people, would consider it the go-to editor for everything. I'm going to do dark modern. I don't even know what that is. See more themes. Is there a Groovebox? Is Groovebox on here? I wonder if they have it. Solarize. Nope. They don't. This is going to do for now. I don't care. Groove. Nope. Okay. Well, we'll just do dark modern. And this should take over the editor for the other problem. Some people use this, by the way, as a terminal. So, is it control back? Yeah, control left. The thing with the tilde, but back tick, control back tick, will bring up a terminal, and you can change it here. So it's kind of got Windows Terminal Preview built in, and when I was teaching kids, younger kids in particular, I would have them just install VS Code, and then when we did the terminal, I would say, okay, go to the terminal over here. One of the reasons for this is because you get the theming automatically. So you can actually go in and install themes from VS Code. I don't want to spend a lot of time on VS Code. But you can totally do this, and then if you wanted to here, you can make it a new. Let's see, set default profile. Okay, we want to use Git Bash. There it is. We want Git Bash. That's a new setting. That is a new setting. They did not used to have that. So let's do that again. So now, oops, it didn't work. Do I have to close out? Set default profile. Default profile to Git Bash profiles. It didn't seem to have taken. No, I wonder why not. I don't want PowerShell. We did the PowerShell last time, but maybe it's because I have so control. There we go. So now I got, okay. So again, I don't I don't want to give up all the screen real estate just to get the terminal here. So I have Windows Terminal Preview, but it might be worth doing this for some of you. And the reason I did it is because of one reason only, and that is I am sick and tired of clicking on Open JSON file and having it open up. So it says, do you want to open this file with WordPad or whatever? And now I'm going to say Visual Studio Code because it's JSON. Remember my decision for all workspace. Open. So there we go. This is much happier. Wrong thing to click, Rob. Okay. There we go. So, and we could get rid of our terminal down here. I mean, it is kind of nice when you're like working with text files. I do like VS Code. I do. I used it for a full year, and mostly to do web development at some point when I was building conversational user interfaces and playing around with some natural language AI kind of things. But I, for the most part, I live on the terminal these days. So here's the thing. It says bell style none, and this is why I'm confused because it seems that did not propagate. And what I think I might have to do is put that for the defaults. Let's see. There's all my color schemes, and where is it? Oh, okay. So this is only the defaults profile. Huh. So maybe I copied this file into the wrong place. Yeah, let's go to select all here. Whoops. How do you select all? I don't edit with VS Code very much. I care. How do I select all? It needs Vim bindings. This is not about VS Code. This is about, terminal guy trying to use a terminal. Trying to use a VS Code. Anyway, copy that. And let's go back to here. Let's do. So I think the problem with that is it's only set for the profile on Git Bash. I could have swore that I had it there. Now, if you hover over this, says Alt-click to open your defaults JSON. Okay, so did that open it? No, I'm trying to. My Alt is weird because I'm using a Mac. I'll use this keyboard for this time. Wait, where are you? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is defaults.json. So this is an auto-generated file. Changing this file will be ignored. Well, that doesn't make sense. All right, so we're going to go ahead and select. I'm going to change it anyway. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I don't want to break it. I don't know. Normally, my settings file just works, so I don't know what's going on with my bell. The bell file. Is it because, okay, so profile defaults. Okay, so maybe I need to add the bell. Okay, I think I know what to do now. Yeah, I think it's because I started up a Git bash instead of a defaults. I think that's what happened. Yeah. So defaults, starting directory, blah blah blah, icon, tab title, run this profile. Advanced. LG history, terminal behavior. There we go. Bell notification style. Flash window. So those are all off. So why is it doing it? I don't know. It's a Windows thing. But if it keeps doing it, I don't know. We'll just have to deal with it. I will just have to deal with it. If any of you smarty pantses that know how to do it out there, let me know. But see now, here. See, okay, so this says, what profile is it? So this says it's a Git bash, and that's the default, but I don't know why. Function key 10. No, that's not what I want. I want function key 11. Okay. Yeah, it's still doing it. It's like driving me nuts. Cancel. No. I don't know. We gotta fix this right now. First of all, let's try this. Let's try settings, defaults, Git bash, advanced. Maybe they might have changed the organization of the JSON file. That might be part of it. I'm betting you this is audible flash window, flash taskbar. Those are all off, which is what I don't understand. And it's still doing it, you know? Um, I don't want it to flash. I do not know why this is working. This is not working. Because this is a get bash. They're just telling you right now it's not supposed to do that. So let's do another. Let's do it one more time. See, there's another get bash window, and then I'm gonna leave this alone because I know another way to make it go away. Um, so we'll do get bash, which is highlighted because it's a default. Backspace. It's still doing it. It's doing a flash screen. It's annoying as hell. And that's annoying as hell. If you guys figure it out, let me know. Uh, anyway, so we spent way too much time on that. I got other stuff to do today. That is gonna drive me absolutely crazy insane. I feel like it's a bug. I do. I feel like it's a bug. In fact, I'm so desperate. I'll actually go out and read the chat at some point and see why to get that, how to get that on there. Um, look at how annoying that is. Ugh. Settings. Defaults. Appearance. We got all this done. I don't want to mess with that anymore. It's not. We already found what it was, and it still did it. Unfocused appearance, create appearance. Yeah. Advanced. Hide profile drop down. Advanced. Close the process. We already did this. History. Bell style notification. Controls what happens when the application emits a bell character. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let me try something else first. Let's actually get our bash configuration here first. I know, let's try it if it happens in PowerShell. Let's see if it happens in PowerShell. If it doesn't happen in PowerShell, then we'll know it's something about my bash configuration. How about that? Bell style notification, that's all off too, right? So let's actually open a PowerShell up and test this. This is so annoying. I want to solve it. PowerShell. No, PowerShell doesn't have it. Okay, that's important. That's interesting. That's really interesting because that means that the terminal is ignoring uh, the bell key. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, that is definitely a bug. That's a bug. And let's try a different command prompt to see if it does it. Let's do this one. Gosh dang it. Okay, here we go. Command prompt. Backspace. Nothing there. Well, actually, no. We don't. It's not necessarily generating a bell prompt. That might be the problem with PowerShell is when you continue to go backspace and try to delete it, doesn't make a bell character like it does in Bash in Windows. Anyway, you can turn that off in other ways, and in order to do that, we have to have an SSH key and we have to connect and get my dot files and blah blah blah. So it's kind of like a circle. So let's go back to full screen mode, and then let's. We got a lot of stuff going on here. So do we even have TMX on here? I don't think we can use. Yeah, you can use TMX on Windows, but I haven't got it installed, and it's not included with Git Bash. So let's finish doing our SSH stuff. So dot SSH config, and we're gonna add a host entry. I don't. My Vim is like this is just generic Vim. Oops, host, and I don't remember how to do this. I'm gonna have to look it up. Let's give it. Let's call it Anton. And this is so weird because there's no Vim. This guy is using actual tabs. Let's do a tab host name. I think it will do tabs or not. Tabs is 192.168.1.32. And we want the user to be RWX Rob. And now I should be able to do SSH Anton. And it just gives me my password. Okay, now if I want to be able to do that all the time and not have to do that, I can now do this. I can say SSH uh, copy ID. There it is. And then I can just say Anton, and it will actually store the key over there so that I don't have to do that every time. I type my password one time, and now when I do SSH Anton, it'll just go right on. That's actually really nice because now I can copy files and not have to type the password every time. I can copy several files without having to do the passphrase. There's an argument to be had about whether you should do that or not, whether you should put passphrases on your keys, etc. If you're just doing localized stuff like that, I do not see a reason for that. Um, so here we are. Where this is the whole point is we want to get our dot files over here, and also to some extent we want to get dot files on Windows. So I've written my dot files for the most part, so they're compatible. It's one of the reasons I put gitbash on here, is because my bash configuration applies to Windows as well as to Linux, Windows running bash. And so that's a thing, right? So let's go ahead and do the configuration for this particular SSH key pair. And one of the things that I can do, one of the options I have to me, is I can actually take this SSH key, this configuration, and I can actually copy this information over to the new system. And so this, both the virtual machine, the Linux virtual machine, and the Windows machine will both have the same SSH configuration data. So as far as GitHub is concerned, it'll look the same coming in to authenticate. So if you haven't got a GitHub account, you're going to need to create one, and you should have already done that. And so we're going to go ahead and SSH into the way to test whether your GitHub is configured is SSH into git@github.com, and that will give you it'll do the thing. Do you know if that's it? Yeah, usually you can just say yes there. Permission denied. Okay, so it has no knowledge of me, and by having knowledge of me, what that means is I need to take this public key, public not private, and I need to add that public key to GitHub. Now, you can use a GitHub command line tool for this if you want. It's a little bit cleaner, but the standard way to do this is to cat out that file. 82.pub. Make sure .pub, right? If you were to ever stream that other key, immediately delete it and never use it for anything, because somebody's going to hack you. So here's this big ugly thing. Now I'm just going to copy and paste this. Now my terminal should copy and paste just by selecting it. We're going to find that out really quick. And then I'm going to go into my GitHub, and some of this stuff I don't necessarily know if I can show you. I'll get you close to it, but I don't want to show you everything there. So you go into your settings over here. Where is it? There it is, settings. And you'll have a bunch of stuff here. And you're going to look for security. There it is, SSH and GPG keys. So click on that. I'm not going to do this one on screen because I do not know how much of it is going to dox about my SSH keys. So I'm going to click on SSH and GPG keys, and then there's a green button that says a new SSH key. I'm clicking new SSH key, and I'm pasting in the key that, and that, by the way, just selecting it didn't copy it. What a surprise. So I'm going to copy this again and do the good old, I think Control C will do it. It still had JSON data in my buffer. There we go. So then it says key type, authentication key. You can say authentication or signing key, it doesn't matter. And title, I'm just going to call it whatever, and do add SSH key. Now, my GitHub settings are locked down. So I'm actually being prompted for something else. I'm being prompted to touch my YubiKey. And if you don't have a YubiKey for GitHub authentication, I really would recommend one. So it says use security key. I'm going to click on that. Make sure it's used. Please touch your security key. And my security key is blinking. And now it's added my key. Just a plug. I just want to put a plug in for the use of YubiKeys or keys like them. Yes, the security keys, because the physical nature of it makes it virtually impossible to defeat. Somebody would have to have a copy. They would have to have that exact key, and it is a little bit. I mean, you have to have backup methods, right, to recover in case that you lose it. Right, you can't lose those keys. So anyway, so now when I do the test again, which is in my history, it should be set-ovi to get my history back. I can go to here and it should actually connect. So it says, "Hey, hi, bye." Right, because there's no shell access. Why would I be terminal accessing, GitHub.com? But this is the way to validate that my SSH configuration is now working. And I have a home directory on Windows. We're still on Windows. Don't worry, we're going to get to Linux as well. But so on Windows, we're now going to create a Git tree here. Now, my standard way to do this, everybody's got their different ways, right? And if I can say find dot type d, let's see. Oh, there's lots of directories there. Let's do was it depth prune 1? I can't remember. Is it depth? Is it depth 1? I can't remember my find command. It only show the top level. But what I was trying to show is that I don't have too much either. So here we go. Contact cookies, desktop cookies. I mean, this is all the same stuff that you would see in your directory, right? In your home directory. If you open up your home directory using Finder, which I'll do, or using your Explorer, whatever. So here you go. Here's like all my videos. We have downloads and all this stuff, right? So my personal choice here, and actually I'm going to go ahead and create it right here, even though you can do it from the command line, is to make a directory in here for all my repos, both on Windows and on Linux. And I'm going to go ahead in here and put new directory. This is recent. So I need home. I need home. I don't know. I don't do Windows very much, obviously. Well, maybe I won't do this. Maybe I'll do. You know what I hate about Windows and Mac? They stopped with the directory thing, right? My home directory is not over here, and I don't navigate these very much. I use a terminal for everything, obviously. Yeah, I don't. How do I not do this? There we go. Okay, so there's my directory. And here's all my stuff, and you can see I've got a bash history of biminfo already. But let's go ahead and add a new. I wanted to do this using this thing because you might be familiar with this, but I wanted to show you that it does the same. It calls it a folder. It's actually a directory. I'm going to call mine repos. This is a standard thing I do all over the place. Talk about it in the boost. So I have a repos directory. So now you'll see if I do ls-l repos, I have a repos directory. It's empty. I can give you the permissions. It gives you the default permissions. And there's no files in it. All right, so the rest of the stuff let's do from the command line. But I just wanted to show you that they're the same thing, right? That is not true if you're using WSL2, by the way. WSL2 has a completely different place to put stuff from your home directory, even though you can get to it. You should really never do that. And if you don't know why, make sure you understand how WSL2 does permissions and stuff. It can really mess you up. And not to mention the fact that if you were to do SSH, it would actually screw up the permissions and widen them up, and then SSH can't do anything with it. So this is why I use Git Bash primarily. And then instead of Git repos, I always do this to make directory github.com because I might be hosting someplace else. I could have done this in several commands. If you wanted to, you can do it this way, which will create all the parent commands. RVXRob. And so that makes a place for me to put my repos. Now we can go into github.com, RVXRob, and spend some time here doing our git clone. So git clone git at github.com /rvxrob / .git. Don't forget the .git. It doesn't always care, but there are certain things that really care. Make sure you put the .git there. So now I have a .files directory. cd into dot. And again, even though this is Windows Git Bash, I have got some stuff in here that you can see. And I have this setup script, right? So we're gonna look at the setup script. So the setup script just takes over. It creates symbolic links for all of my main things. Now there are a lot of people who complain about this. I've heard Twitch streamers complain about writing their own symbolic links, and there's this tool that does it better than everything else. You want to know something though? That tool doesn't work on everything. And so you're not going to be able to use that tool at work necessarily. You know what always will work at work? Your own scripts that you spend a little bit of time to maintain. So this is the primary motivator for learning how to code in Bash, because Bash is everywhere. You're likely going to have it no matter what, or to write it in POSIX. This is POSIX, by the way, and be able to use it everywhere, right? So what this script does is it first of all it takes over, it replaces all the stuff in the home directory with this, which is PWD is the current directory, and it replaces those files with links to these files. That means if you change the files, you can go into your Git repo and you can git commit and you can save the changes, right? And then you do for I, and so this is like all these other subdirectories. Just for my own sanity, you go into those subdirectories and run setup. Now, I don't always keep this. There might be a couple errors that they'll creep in here. So you run it /setup, which /setup says go ahead and run it, and so it did it. Now watch if I exec bash -l, which I don't know if that's going to work because this is actually Linux. I mean this is git bash. Oh, it worked. Okay, so there's I have all my new settings and everything. Okay, how did I do that? All right, so let's go through and do the same thing for the Linux machine, and then I will go through the dot files and I will itemize them and I'll talk to you about what's in there. Okay. So the next thing is we are in. So you see, I've got my same stuff. It can get kind of confusing. Make sure you look at what your name is. This immediately makes me want to rename my desktop PC to something else because it's so annoying having that big long name in there. But that's the actual name, the host name. So now watch. I can do SSH into Anton. And you're like, oh no, everything's ugly now again, right? Anton is the virtual machine, right? So how do I do the same thing over here, right? Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to get the SSH keys over here. So let's back out, let's exit out, and we're going to SCP dash, is it dash, I can't remember if it's capital or lower, but that's fine. Oops. We're not there. Let's CD into the home directory. CD by itself with no arguments takes you into your home directory every time, nice and fast. So you don't have to type that tilde. So then we're going to do scp dot not dot. What am I doing? SSH. We want all of that thing verbatim, including my configuration file, and we're going to copy it. We're going to do -r, I think it is, and we're going to copy that up to Anton. Don't forget the colon. By the way, if you do forget the colon, what happens? It makes a copy of the directory locally. The colon is what tells it, I want on Anton, and colon says into whatever the default home directory is over there. All right, so when you hit this, you should see it copy all the files over. So all those files got copied over in the exact same location. So now when I SSH into Anton, you can do ls-l, you'll see, oops, -la, and we'll see that there's a .ssh directory. The really great thing about this is look at the permissions. It even maintain the permissions. WSL2 does not always do that. So because if you were to use the wrong place for .ssh, the file permissions would be all screwed up. You'd copy them over and they would be insecure and it wouldn't even allow SSH to run because it wasn't secure enough. But in this case, these files are all okay. Now there is some stuff that needs to be changed. So the config file can be open. This file cannot have read access on it. All right. And let me show you what I mean by that. So there are some tweaks you have to do if you're going to copy the files over. So I'll try to get a github.com and it will fail. Because it's like, unprotected private key. Oh my God, close it down. Right. So it looks like it didn't copy that one over correctly, but that's okay because we're going to fix it. We're going to chmod it. And we're going to say we want it to be only read writable by the user. So that's me. So we want it to say user equals read write. And ID 22519. Yeah. Now public key everybody can read. That's designed to be read by everybody. Same with known hosts. Those can be that way. ls-l the dot. I think that, okay, no, that's restrictive enough. Let's try our same command again. Set-ovi. I need to get my bash. All right, so here we go. SSH get it, github.com. App still doesn't like it. .ed2 permission. Did it not change it? ls-l. What did I not do? What? Oh, did I do the schma command wrong? Oh yeah, I just did it for user. Yeah. You can do octal if you want. This is why I'm struggling, but I don't like teaching beginners octal right off the bat, which is just 600. But that will work. But I want to figure out the other one. So let's do user equals read write, group equals nothing, other equals nothing, ID 2219. I actually taught this recently to somebody at work when I was in the support ticket. They did not know about Symbolic, and they had wide open files. So anyway, let's try our command again. SSH get a GitHub. Oh yay! Okay, so now we are in. Now this is from Anton, right? So everything else is the same. Everything else is the same. So this is how I'm going to set up this machine. Make directory-p, which is only, it's not POSIX compliant to do that. So if you're on a shell like an AIX or Solaris box, that's not working. Repos / github.com / rwxrob. And then I'm going to cd into that. So cd into that. And then from inside of here, I'm going to do git clone, same as before, git at github.com / rwxrob / .git. And it'll pull down my dot files. It's actually the same dot files that were on the other one. cd into dot and run dot / setup and exec bash -l. And now you'll see I have all the same stuff. Okay. So there's Rob RWX and Anton, and now I'm ready to do all my other things, right? So I have all my favorite things. I can use VI. With my proper, settings for Vim, all of it came in, and I've got everything I ever cared about is there again. And this is the primary justification for having a dot files. As you saw, I was able to I was able to do the same thing on Windows Git Bash and on this. So if we go back out here, let's go all the way back out and get rid of our terminal. Control D on the terminal. And actually, you see here, you see all these new things that have been created in here, including tmux configuration, which you can run. So this is my Windows machine, and we're going to start the terminal. So I'm pushing the super key, the Windows key, and I'm typing terminal, TRM, enter, and that pulls up a terminal in full screen. It's in my main terminal, so I have to move it. But for you wouldn't have to. It would just give you a nice full screen terminal right off the bat. This is what I do every day. And now the first thing I'm going to do is log into my machine. So my virtual machine's running, and that I like doing this because that is the equivalent as to if I was, if I had a machine in the cloud or whatever. So I'm going to SSH into Anton clear, and there's a bunch of stuff over here that I don't have. So obviously I'm going to have to be doing a bunch of installs and stuff, which brings me to the first thing to talk about. So let's go into dot. Oh, did you see what it did? It CD'd me all the way into dot because it's in my CD path, and then we talk about that in the boost, not today. So this is the repo. Okay, so it's now time to talk about what's in this repo, and that will be the end of this video. And there's going to be some things that I'm going to need to install right away. So the first thing you'll notice is I'm going to want to use tmux for things, and there is no tmux here. Actually, there was a tmux. That's interesting. Ubuntu server installs tmux by default now. What? That is very good news. Did you see how tmux was configured for my session? It took my tmux config in. That's really fascinating. I did not know that. Okay, so but let's say that wasn't there. So Vim and tmux were already on Ubuntu server. Very nice. But I want to so I have an install directory in my Git repos, right? And you can read the README about this. Install scripts. Here are some install scripts I've collected. So the point of this is that every single apt install. Why don't you just apt install everything? Well, some things need to be tweaked and need to be installed in particular special ways. So over the years, I personally, and a lot of people may disagree, but I personally maintain the core tools that I need. I make sure to install them the way I want to install them. Let me give you an example. Go. So Go is the main language that I code in lately, and there is no Go over here, right? So how would I install Go? Well, there's like 10 different ways to install Go, I swear. But what if I want the latest one and I want to do it, the way God intended, so to speak? So here's my bash script that does Go installation. Now it's a bash script because why does it have to be bash, or could it just been POSIX? Let me look. Oh, I'm using double brackets. So for some reason I just use bash on this. There's really no reason this couldn't be done as a POSIX shell script. Actually, I don't see any reason whatsoever. I might even change it back to that. But here's something interesting. Look at the dependencies it has. It needs curl and JQ. Are they on here? Let's see. Which JQ? No JQ. Which curl? Oh, we do have curl, but no JQ. So you can see that, if I were going to take this to the next level, I would probably write an installer for Ubuntu that actually, has all the things one after the other. And I don't have that. So I do know I'm going to need JQ first. So do I have an install JQ? I don't think I do. So actually, no, I do have one called install most stuff. Install most stuff with apt. How's that for a name? So here's all the stuff that I regularly use to do apt. Actually, I don't need PCR grep anymore. I stopped using. Oh, you're bringing me coffee. I'm making a YouTube video right now. So okay, so PCR grep links make UID map, Ruby WeChat curses, Python is Python 3 lib curses, a bunch of stuff. Now, there's a couple things that I noticed right away that are not happening here. This is not wrapping. That means that one of my Vim configurations is not set currently. So I'm actually going to go change that right now while I'm thinking about it. And this is, it's not uncommon for you to not it's not uncommon to not commit a change that you make to your local configuration files. You forget to make the change, and that's not bad. It's better that you under commit rather than over, I suppose. So that configuration is in my Vim, and it's in .vimrc. And I'm going to go quickly do that. We need to change wrap. I have no wrap set. Why did it wrap then? I wonder why. Why did it wrap? It should not have wrapped. It should not have wrapped. I also need Tmux on. This is driving me nuts. And I'm going to get rid of that. I don't want that to do that anymore. That's you can silence that too. There's a number of things that are necessary for that. So let's go to install Ubuntu. And let's do install. Which one were we doing? Most of it, and then we did YQ. Most of that. Oh, see, it's going off the screen. Set no wrap. Set. Did I have wrap or no wrap? Oh. Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I had. I'm not looking at chat at all today. Oh, I do have no wrap set. Huh. This is not that. I don't know what the hell that's there. I mean, this is a tough one because I'm gonna leave it. This is a tough one because when I'm doing actual code, sometimes you get like certificates or something like that, and they'll be like really long, and I hate it when it fills the whole screen with a cert. In fact, now I remember changing it. I'm having a memory recall problems here. All right, so set wrap, no wrap. Actually, that was it just for now. Okay. So text animate. This is a bunch of stuff for different things, right? ENTR, of course, I love. Is ENTR? Which ENTR is that free? No. Okay. So these are all my favorite tools. Let's talk about those tools really quick. Okay, and what they do. So Nmap is of course a network scanning tool used by security people and network people. JQ is the gold standard for dealing with JSON. PCRE grep gives you a version of grep that uses PCRE. I actually don't use PCRE grep lately, but I'm going to keep it on there anyway. Links, everybody knows links. Who knows the Boost? That's my terminal-based browser. I should probably put ChatGPT in here. I'm going to have to install that. It's not going to work with that. Make is for doing make files like UID map. It gives you unique identifiers with UIDs. Ruby. Why am I installing Ruby? Something I have requires Ruby, and I don't remember what that is. WeChat curses. I don't need that at all. I used to do that. This was because Python is Python 3. I think you don't need that anymore either, but I'm going to put it anyway. That makes your Python 3 automatically. You don't have to put Python 3 everywhere. libcurse is Perl. This is what gives me terminal fishies. Figlet gives me the banner. CMatrix is CMatrix. That's the cascading stuff in the background. It is a version of it. We don't need CMatrix. I could use Neo instead. Let's get rid of CMatrix. CMatrix is always fun when you don't have that. Build Essential is all the stuff that you need to do, like autogen and make install and stuff like that. And so if you're doing any kind of building on the machine yourself, that's the thing. Libn curses, dev. So if you're doing any development, terminal-based application development, you need that. Autocomp, ENTR. And now ENTR is the thing that will run a program, a single line program, a single line of code if something changes. And that's what I use for testing all the time. And then we need the CPAN terminal animation library for the fishies. All right, so let's actually run that. And I'm just going to I'm using / to run it because it's executable. And we'll run that. And it wants my password for sudo. And it's going to want to install a bunch of things. 288 megabytes. That's not too bad. And we'll just sit here and drink coffee and wait for it to install. Maybe I'll actually go get my phone and read the comments if I'm really brave. I was reading comments yesterday from YouTubers, and no, at least one troll. Actually, not a bunch of one. Would you like to configure as much possible automatically? Yes. Yes, please. Fetching. So this is good old CPAN, one of the best registries still on the planet. Very well organized. If nobody uses registries anymore, they use just GitHub. That's how Go works anyway. All right, so we should have all that stuff installed now. I don't think we can do fishies yet. Oh, we can. We got fishies in. All right, so fishies are in. That wasn't too hard, huh? We got fishies here. All right, so that installed a bunch of stuff. I think it installed JQ as well. Which JQ? And I mean, there's other things here that I do not necessarily want now, but let's talk about install Go. Install Go. So this does the proper Go installation. Now I'm going to need to do this one today, so I'm going to go ahead and run that. Install Go. This is downloading Go, and it's putting the binary in my .local/bin, which is what you should probably do instead of putting it in your entire system. I use .local for that kind of thing. So Go version. Oh wait, exec bash-shell. I have to get a new one now, so it doesn't know Go exists there. Go version. So this should work. There we go. Go. I have 1.21.3, which is a version that normally wouldn't be. If I was going to do apt install, it would not be that, right? It would be a different version. So that's the version I want. And now I can start writing Go code. We can do our bash code. I can pull in my Zettelkasten, which I probably want to do next. So let's do that. I don't have an install Zet because I'm pretty sure I just do a Go. I think I probably should add it. Yeah, it's like you don't have Keg. Keg is the tool that I wrote to do my Zettelkasten. Yeah, I probably need to write an installer for that. Normally, The reason I like to write an installer for it is even if I know that it's just go install whatever, um, it makes it easier to remember how it is that I did the installation of that particular thing. Um, ooh, I definitely want the GitHub command line tool. So there's another one, right? So this is an apt install, but it has to be you have to add extra stuff for the Debian. So that's the kind of thing that you would want to code, right? I don't want to sit around and have to look that up every time. Mm. And now all my other commands will work, so I can do issues. To get started, okay. So I have to log into the GitHub CLI. Um, the GitHub token available with a GitHub API authentication token. That's stupid. Um, I'm gonna go do that later. I don't want to do that because I have to do it off screen. So what else? Zet, my Gazette and my keg. I don't have an install keg. Hmm. Okay, so let's stay focused. So I could spend. I mean, let's try Neo. Is the install Neo gonna work? Oh, you're gonna like this one. This is pretty. Can't CD into STD Neo. Oh, because I use GH instead of Git. Yeah, yeah. This is. I use the GH tool for everything. It's so cool. Yeah, I did a Git repo clone. All right, fine. I'll authenticate. So GH auth login. GitHub SSH. Yes, please. SSH GitHub CLI. Login with a web browser. Yes. Actually, I can't do the login with a web browser because I am on a virtual machine. So I have to paste the authentication token. Paste your authentication token. Okay, so first of all, I have to make one. So to make one, we're going to go to GitHub again. And we're going to go to here. I'm going to go to settings. And where is it? I can't remember where it is. I have to look it up every time. Password and authentication. It's not SSH and GPG keys. I'm pretty sure it's password and authentication. But I don't want to do that on screen. So, just give me a second here. Make sure I did it right. Let's see. Password authentication. Let's see. Password, change it. Two-factor, passkeys. And here we go. Two-factor modes, recovery code. So that's not it. I think it's developer stuff. I can't remember where it's at offhand. Sessions, billing, no. Organizations, no. Moderations, code. Here we go. Code planning and automation. Code spaces, Copilot, pages, save, replied repositories. Integrations, applications. Yeah. Okay. So it's under integrations, applications, and it says install GitHub apps, authorize GitHub apps, authorize OAuth token apps. That's not it. That's not it. Someone probably knows, and they're already putting it in the chat right now. Developer settings. Yep, there it is. Developer settings. Personal access tokens. Tokens classic, fine grained tokens. I'm going to use fine grained tokens. Generate a new token. And token name. I don't know. Expiration 30 days. Yeah, I like to keep my tokens to expire because, if somebody gets a hold of it, I don't want them to have used. I mean, if you don't expire them, then it's, you can go in and remove it if you know it's been compromised. But I like that as a reminder. So resource owner Artifix Rob, repository access, public repositories read only. I'm going to put, it needs to be able to access all my repositories. So I'm going to put all permissions, repository permissions. This is a different, the classic one might be a little bit easier to do. I have to decide what things I'm going to add access to. Do I need actions? Yes, I want to do actions. Yes, administration. Yes. This is kind of one, a token to rule them all. That's why I'm gonna like make it able to do so much, and a lot of that stuff has been integrated into the command line tool. So I'm just randomly picking stuff here. CodeSpace is metadata. I don't care about that. Commit statuses. Yes, I want read write on that. Contents, read write. Depend about alerts. Yes, read write on that. Uh, deployments, read write. Discussions. What the hell? Read write. Environments, read write. Issues. Yes, you definitely want read write on issues. Merge queues, I want you read write. Metadata, mandatory read only. Okay. Pages, we're gonna do read write. Pull request is read write. More read write. My wife wants my attention. I gotta finish this video. I'm almost there. Read write access. Account permissions. Use permissions account access required under your permission GitHub. Block another user. CodeSpace users. Email addresses. Followers. GPG keys. Just SSH keys. Blah blah blah. I don't think I need any of that overview. Okay. Generate token. All right, so that's going to give me a copy of the token, and then I have to paste it. And this is, if I remember right, I'm going to delete this token if I do it wrong, but I'm pretty sure I can paste this without it. Yeah, it doesn't show it. I just actually coded something that does exactly that same thing with the stars for another system. And not accessible by personal access token. A resource not accessible. What was I doing? Resource not accessible. Which one was I trying to do? Issues. Okay, there we go. So there we go. So my token is working, and nasze эти можно заметить. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. This is a stupid idea. I'm not doing that. So anyway, so that's it. Let's talk about some of the other stuff in here. I'll do a quick summary of the other stuff that's here. I did want to do install Neo. There, I should install and build Neo now. Because it's just using GH, and that's a typical C project. We're actually going to build Neo as a part of the boost just to show how to build a C project. And the reason for that is because it's a pretty common thing to have to do to be able to build something, and from C. So even if you don't know C, knowing how to build a C project is a really important skill. I don't know if it's a boost skill, but it's definitely an important skill. So anyway, that was what I want to show you. Let's go through here. So we have all our installers over there. I have some stuff on Mac that's particular to Mac. But let's go through the rest of this. So everything has got a README. Filter at your own peril. Here's all my stuff. The DCO, which means if you're contributing, that's just you're giving up licensing your copyright. If you're having anything, I have Apache license, which is the best, most permissive license that you can have, and it makes companies the most happy, which gives you the best chance of using your code without problems at work. Docker, it's like this is just if I want to install and set up and use Docker. I don't use Docker anymore. I use Podman for everything, so that might need to go away. Yeah, I definitely need to delete that, but whatever. The stuff for the GitHub tool is in here. I did not run this setup. This setup got ran though when I did my install. So that's telling me where the stuff is. What else? Git. So Git setup. How to install Git templates. This replaces it with my own Git templates. I didn't run that, but I might still run it someday. This is interesting because it put a Go mod and a Go sum in here. I don't know why there's a Go sum in here. I don't know. This is also a Git. I don't even know why that file's there. That should not be there. I should probably remove those. That was me probably trying to convert it over to Go at one point. This is good. This is a good review for me because I don't always look at all the files in my dot files. I just use them. Here's the identity management stuff that I had going on, and I'm just curious about this. So, uh, oh wow, that's right. I forgot about this. There's a bunch of random stuff in here. This is um, this is some stuff that I was using for my own status change. That's cool. I did not know that's where it was. Anyway, I am like sleeping or whatever. That is not identity management. That is a tool I was using in Twitch to change my category. Uh, yeah, and then we already looked at install. K9s is the best tool for doing Kubernetes interactions. For some reason, this has got my skin in it, so it's got my Groovebox skin that I stole from somebody, and so for K9s that's in there. When I'm not using K9s for an iPhone M, I'll do it. The link stuff is definitely was already got run. This uses links and then wraps links in a way that I can use for my searches. What is links? There we go. We got our searches working, and the colors are the way I want them. Okay, so that's working. Didn't have to do anything there. Podman. So this is a relatively new installation thing. I don't have Podman installed right now. I don't think. I don't think I do. Yeah. So I'm not going to mess with Podman on here. In fact, I'm not going to be installing Podman probably into this machine. I don't know. I'm trying to decide whether I want to do Podman work inside of my virtual machine or if I want to log into my other server and do that. But for the boost and for beginners, it might be worth installing it if you want to use Minikube there. I do that stuff on a different server though. Okay, so what else we got? We're almost done. I'm going to skip scripts right now because it's going to take a little bit to talk about. The tmux config it's all here. 100% screen muscle memory. That's what this setup is about. I have several other configs that I switch back and forth between depending on what kind of mode I'm in. I used to actually split the screen and put the IRCs down there so I could talk with Twitch. Don't do that anymore. And here's actually this Twitch command is really old. This is in the middle of back when I was Twitch now has a binary, right? So it has a binary for logging in that represents it's probably a lot better now for like direct command line interactions with Twitch. I will not be pursuing that because I'm going to be using the Restream API instead wherever possible because I multi-stream. I don't just stream to Twitch anymore. So, and this is my Vim setup, and you can read about that. Just takes over the Vim stuff, and Vim, there's an entire video on Vim and how to set that up. And so that, and then VM. So, what is this one? Oh, Workspace Virtual Machine. Yeah, we were. This is. I like to go look at this one again. Actually. Yeah, this was. We were playing around with making a tool for. See, it says VM run star dot. Yeah, this is actually this works on Windows, and I forgot about it, and it's good to go see it again. That allows me to run VMs from the command line, from Windows, and it gets around some of the problems with the other stuff. So that tool I'll come back to. I'm gonna go work. I don't like if I want to like if I come onto a scene, I reboot a machine, and I don't want to click on VMware and Player and start up everything, which is not that hard. I can go right to my terminal and I can do VM Anton start, and I wait around, and then boom, and then I just SSH right into it, so that I don't. And it actually starts in the background, so it doesn't have an annoying window hanging around, right? But that's not essential. That's just kind of extra stuff that you can add on in there. And that is everything in my dot files. There, scripts, probably the biggest thing. So scripts, there are a lot of scripts here. There's a YouTube video where I went through every single one of the things in my Sunrise. I'm curious to see. Oh, hey, look, it's good. It's millions of colors. That's really good. Sunrise, this is good because it shows you that it's using millions of colors. Yeah. I mean, it's actually not using millions of colors right now. No, it's not. It's using only thousands. Anyway, so let's see. There's a color strip, I think. Yeah, color strip will give you. Oh, yeah. I'm not using millions of colors for some reason. I don't know why. There's something going on with my configuration that's disallowing me from using millions of colors at the moment. And I mean, we could actually test that. Let's go back here. If we go back to this one here, color strip, it might not, I don't think it'll work. Did I do it? This is file directory. Oh, cd dot. This is file directory. Oh, that's right, on Windows. Scripts. So again, I'm now on the Windows machine. I'm curious to see if I can actually run that on there. I don't think I can, but I'm gonna try anyway. Yeah. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. That was really interesting. Huh. So the colors work. Is there something going on with millions of colors? I don't know what, but it's a small little thing. The main point being that now that I'm on Anton and I can see into scripts, and you can see all of my scripts are here. I don't obviously need a lot of these scripts on a production system, so I just kind of put them all here. And when I need one really quickly, I go look at it. A lot of these scripts have been combined into a single massive binary called, it's a monolith binary called Z. And I started rewriting a lot of my shell scripts as Z scripts. And I've kind of stepped back from that a little bit because not for no particular reason. It's just maintaining a single monolith and having to update that monolith every time I have a change anywhere on any system is it seems like on the surface like that's something that would be a good idea, and it is, but it's not as simple as, oh hey, I don't need everything in it, right? You know what I mean? I and you know the one it's a little bit, obviously it's very much against the Unix philosophy of do one thing well. Well, I've got a lot of these little individual scripts, and if I ever wanted all of them on a target system, I would have to copy them all. I'd have to git clone them and git repo them, and that's really what has kind of. I still like my Z tool, but what I find myself doing is if there's a system that has to be configured for me to work on it, I just git clone and do this, right? And I probably have Git access to it. I can just copy the Git repo. If I don't have that, if I don't have that access, then usually I just want one or two of these scripts and I want to pull those over, right? And an argument could be made that pulling over the Z binary with everything in it would get you everything you need, and that's fine. But 9 times out of 10, I don't need that stuff. If I'm getting on a system that a container or a remote VM or something, and I need what I need my vimrc, I need my bashrc, and that's it. Honestly, that's really it. Maybe I need input RC, but not really. So vimrc and bashrc, that is it. I really don't need anything else. Because if I'm using tmux, I'm using it from my host workstation and not the remote one, usually. When I do that, I use the remotely. I'll use screen on the remote session because I don't want to mix screen and tmux. I don't want to have two, tmuxception where I got it, which you can manage. There's ways to do it, but I would prefer to be able to get on there and do the right thing. So that's what I do, and that is all of my setup. I am now ready to do the beginner boost today, as well as everything else, and I can just clone down some repos and stuff like that. So thank you for watching this video. I am going to take a moment and read some of the comments as soon as I can find my phone. All right. So, and then I gotta go catch up with my wife, who's about ready to leave. I have a feeling. Okay. So, okay. What's going on in the comments here? I hope you guys are being nice, but we'll find out. Just talking about WSL, or did I miss that? WSL is a disaster. Don't use it. It'll crash on you. It'll corrupt your files. It'll corrupt your Git repos. If you've not had that experience, you may eventually have that experience. Use at your own risk. I strongly advise you against WSL2. It does not allow you to mount SSH keys and key fobs and USB key things like that, so that you might want to use for authenticating, like I just did. Right, that whole thing where I touched my key and it authenticated, could not do that um, and without that. So Python is Python 3. You add an alias. That's a horrible idea. Because the alias isn't going to work when you call it from a script. Alexander, how are you? Rob stops traffic. Let's see here. So it says traveling outdoors. I changed it. I'm sorry it didn't change it. Well, Grandpa, I'm sorry it did not change it. VS Code sucks. VS Code is awesome, actually. It is for the right things. I see our troll is back. Somebody should ban his ass. Groovebox is an extension. I know. I just didn't want to take time to do it. I just wrote where it is. Wow, I'm so glad I did not put these comments on the screen. So many of them are dead wrong. Settings.json, yeah. It looks like some of you were trying to help me find the bell thing. Oh, by the way, does the bell thing work now? Yeah. See, the bell thing has been silenced. You know why? Because it's been silenced in the bash RC. In fact, let's try it. Let's try the bell thing on Windows. So I'm now on Windows, right? Bell thing is now gone. That is, if you want to silence it, even if your terminal doesn't do it properly, there is a way to turn it off. And I don't remember where, but it's in here. It's in my bash RC, which we're going to go through extensively after we learn bash, which is what we're doing today. We still have more bash to learn. We can't go through bash RC until you learn how to code in bash. I know it seems like a lot to learn, but it's worth it because then you have full control over everything. Path append, bin, ps local. Check when it's expand aliases clubstar.club. Nope, that's not it. I don't remember where it is. It's definitely here somewhere. So one of my settings in here turns off the bell. Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about it. So that's what was going on with that. So that's now gone. That's why I never really cared about it in the settings before. That we spent way too much time looking for it. Yeah, and I don't think you should. Somebody's suggesting, showing me where to go to get the app for Windows Terminal. I mean, to go get the settings file. You don't need to know where the settings file is because it's in Windows. So you just click on that, and then if they move it around, that's safer for you. Control L does not work in VI mode. It does not. No, it does not work. Control L does not work in VI mode. Let me show you. I maybe it does. I don't know. Let's try. Control L. No, there you go. That's why you don't do that. Telling people to use Control to clear the screen is irresponsible, unless you first understand whether they're using the BIM editor or Emacs editor. And if they're using the BIM editor everywhere, then it follows that they should use BIM as their history settings, which means they should use set-ovi. It should be the first thing in their bash RC or whatever, and therefore they should never ever use Control L except for from within Vim, which does do a reset and cleans the screen up. I see lots of good stuff here. Yeah. And use Python 3 or pip anyway. You have scripts that check for Python 3 or pip. God, I'm glad I'm not working with you. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. Okay, so this is not an attack on you. This is an attack on Python. And I probably need to end before I get too ranty on this. Somebody suggested that not to use Python 3 as Python 3, whatever. And that's fine. If you do what you want. If you want to put Python 3 in all your scripts to be safe, great. I don't. This is just my home workstation. I would argue that that's probably a good practice to do in production, because in production you don't ever know what you're going to get, and if you're using the BIM editor everywhere, then they should it follows that they should use unless you're using a Python virtual environment, which is the standard thing to tell people to do, which is totally stupid and everybody has to do it. And it's the reason I hate Python these days. It's still the right way to do it, right? Because you just don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what libraries you're going to get. You should probably containerize that entire thing, and then you don't care. All right, so that's a very advanced topic and a very fun topic to debate, and we will talk about that when and if we ever actually do Python here. But this is one of the main reasons Python is a pain in the ass. Yeah, Ubuntu uses Python 3 because it's linked to V2, and yeah. So I Love Struct is talking about some really interesting things with regard to Python in general, and the conversation that's being had about Python, which version, and how to make sure you're using the right one, and whether you should hard code that in your scripts or you should maintain the proper versions, by encapsulating it in a Python virtual environment or a container or something. That is like one of the biggest rabbit holes and just, frankly, excuse the French, clusterfucks of the entire Python world. It's the reason that I really don't like Python. When I can just write Go code and compile it to a single binary that I can compile for any target OS with no dependencies whatsoever. Why would you do that with Python? The only reason people do it is because they have some other dependency for Python. They're using PyTorch or something like that. And so they go through this intensely insane amount of work to keep Python happy and to make sure it's the right one. And then they inevitably get it wrong. And somebody runs a Python script over here that doesn't have the right Python version, and then they don't trap all the potential errors and problems, and then they end up doing something to their system in production, or this other thing over here like Anaconda is like touching and modifying, dot files in your home directory without permission, without confirmation. It's just a mess. The Python ecosystem is a disaster. And that's a great time for me to end the stream. So this is why I do not willingly choose to code anything in Python ever. You can do pretty much everything in Python other than PyTorch, TensorFlow. By the way, PyTorch is primarily C, right? It's just they just put Python on the front end of it. Same with TensorFlow. Python gets all the credit for TensorFlow and PyTorch and all these other things. The truth is that the real nuts and bolts, the real great stuff that people are using in those libraries and stuff, the real good stuff is in C. It was written in C or C++, and Python just happens to be a really great language for writing stubs, and so Python gets all the credit for those things, which is really sad because the proper credit should go to the underlying languages that are allowing those libraries to exist, which, by the way, can be bound to other languages, including Go and others, but Python is so popular with the AI people who don't know how to schmod, by the way. It's just a horrible thing to end on, but I have to tell you this. So yesterday I had a support ticket, and I spent 30, 40 minutes on the phone with a guy who did not know how to use schmod, did not know what groups and ownerships were, but was put in charge of a key enterprise data set and they had full permissions on all of these JSON files. They had executable JSON files because they did not know how to use schmod or check the groups. And they were an AI professional. They were a Python professional, and AI professional had no idea. And I mean no idea, not even a rudimentary kindergarten level of idea about how permissions worked. And they opened an enterprise support ticket because they couldn't see their files and they were afraid their files were deleted. And they did not have executable permissions on their directories. And I was so totally blown away by that level of like remedial knowledge about using Unix and Linux that was absent from this AI professionals knowledge base that to this day, I continue to have these stories. There was a presentation, 600 people on a presentation, and this AI person was giving a presentation about how I can't remember what it was. It was something, and they were using Windows, and they did not know how to rename a file. They were on the command line doing all of these other commands because those were part of the presentation, but they had never renamed a file from the command line. They did not know how to do it. And in front of a presentation of 600 people, this actually happened. I was just shaking my head. They went out to Windows, opened up the File Explorer, clicked on the file and renamed the file, and then went back into the terminal to finish everything else. They did not know the MV command. This is a, well-educated AI technology professional giving a presentation to more than 600 people, had no idea how to name the files, how to rename files. So when AI Python people come at me saying, "Oh, you should just do this and you should do this," I'm like, okay. Oh man, where's my coffee? What was that you just said? Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, time for me to go talk to my wife, see what she wants to say, and I'll come back. I gave you a little rant there at the end for free. I unfortunately don't have time to raid anybody right now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and end the stream. If you want more of this kind of thing, and come on back. We're gonna be doing the boost at 11. What time are we doing the boost today? Let me pull up the calendar really quickly for those of you that are hanging out. So the boost is gonna be at 10:30, so that's in like 90 minutes. We're gonna be doing Go programming. We're gonna be doing Bash programming today in the Learn Linux stuff. We're gonna be doing Go programming later after that. We may bike today, depends on the rain though. Might be indoors. So for those of you who are here, thank you. Please spread the word and help people learn these things if they want to. Every single thing that I did, we're going to go into in depth in the boost, but this has been a very quick and dirty session in order for me to get my Windows machine back ready to do the beginner boost today, because I installed Windows last weekend. So that was the primary purpose of it. Thank you for being here, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.